Hi, I'm Erica Monet, and welcome back to Metamorphosis. So today we're going to be talking about spiritual abundance and what that means. But you already know, before we get started, make sure you're liking these videos, make sure that you comment down below, and make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel. So let's go. Spiritual abundance. Well, we talked about abundance meaning having more than you need, right? Being more than enough of something. Well, spiritual abundance means you have more than enough and you are overflowing spiritually. And so, of course, I'm going to share 3 things that you can do to really experience spiritual abundance in your life. And one of the things that I just want us to be mindful of is that we can all tap into who we are and our deeper, most inner selves. So when we're talking about spiritual abundance, we're looking at really tapping into who we are. And so the first thing that I want to encourage you to do is know the difference between spirituality and religion. That is often a big setback for many of us because we get stuck not recognizing that there is a huge difference between the two. But spirituality just has more to do with your innermost self, where you place your faith, where you're going to grow. Whereas religion is all about the rules and the legalism and just the stuff that's expected, right? It's the decorum that's expected. Whereas spirituality is just what your experience is, what you're doing, how you are interacting with your greater beliefs, right? So you want to make sure you know the difference between spirituality and religion. It's just really important to separate the two. But secondly, you want to make sure that you are spending time in meditation and or prayer. And so meditation, of course, is taking time to just sit and to think and to reflect. Sometimes it's sitting and maybe you have a word that just really, you need to put your focus there. So you spend some time in meditation, just really reflecting over that word, mulling over that word, just saying that word over and over again in your mind and really just creating a focus point for yourself. Where prayer, you are asking for things. If you believe in God, you are speaking to Him. You are asking Him just to touch your life, to touch what you are doing. And the cool thing about meditation and prayer is that they can go together or they can stand alone. But it is important that you practice both. So the last thing that you want to make sure that you're doing to create spiritual abundance for yourself is you want to know you. Know thyself, right? That's like the number 1 rule. So you really want to recognize who you are and you want to recognize whose you are. And so that's really important, is to recognize that you are created and you have a purpose and that who you are is deeper than anything else you do. Who you are is the core, right? We build everything else out of that. And so you want to make sure that you have a really deep understanding. You want to have a relationship with yourself. And so one of the cool things about meditation and even prayer is that it gives you time to spend time with you. So you want to make sure that you are really tapping into that, because a lot of times what happens, especially when we're talking about like spirituality versus religion, is many times in religion, we lose ourselves to the legalism. We lose ourselves to the things that are expected. And the greater thing is that in all of this, in spirituality, you should be practicing your faith. You should be able to create and understand morals, right from wrong, things that you should be doing to grow yourself spiritually, things that you can be doing that can harm yourself spiritually. But you don't want to get so stuck in a rut and so stuck in religion that you lose who you are. Because a lot of times, instead of growing and becoming deeper into who we were created to be, we end up completely losing that person. And I know some of you may say, well, it says to cast it aside and, you will be made new, which is true. You want to be made new. You want to grow when we're talking about spirituality. But what you don't want to do is literally die. You know, I know some of us are very, very familiar that, you know, you're supposed to die to your flesh every day. There is a difference in dying to your flesh and spiritually dying. And that's what ends up happening a lot when we get stuck in religion instead of spirituality, is when we lose ourselves to the religion and we don't focus on what it means to be spiritual, we end up dying spiritually, and then we've achieved nothing but legalism. So we have to make sure that we're finding that balance and make sure that we can see ourselves through everything that is happening, that we can recognize, man, I did this thing and that was not okay to do. I need to do better. Let me spend some time in meditation and prayer to figure out what I should be doing differently. But what we should not be doing is saying, oh, this said that I have to check this box, this box, this box, and this box in order to meet everything. But the person that created you, the being that created you, our Creator never intended for any of us to be less than who He has made us to be. So just make sure that when you are practicing anything, and as you are trying to grow abundance, that you make sure that you understand that you should be overflowing, not underwhelming, if that makes sense. And so I hope that that was really helpful, that you're recognizing it's so important to know the difference between spirituality and religion. It's so important to make sure that you're practicing meditation and prayer, and to make sure that you know who you are. I'm Erica Monet, and thank you so much for joining me. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week.